I'm I'm Margaret Ann Windsor, and I hope you'll excuse the way I look this morning. I'm in pretty bad health. O.J. Simpson was paroled, is going to be paroled as of yesterday. I've always said that that was a mind control. Patterns was used in it, and it's my belief that O.J. was the one that used the knife. However, this was done in patterns, and he's a victim himself. I wanted to show up a few pictures here, and I'll leave it up to you. I've put up YouTube. I have two YouTubes because they tried to take them down, and I'm on Facebook since 2012. I've always maintained this, and I'm going to try to show what's involved in it, the patterns. This is Larry Flint, who was shot in Lawrenceville, Georgia, when I was doing a book on mind control murders in '78. I lived at Moonraker Apartments, and he even says here that Larry McDonald was the one that helped try to kill him. That was a program shooter that shot Mr. Flint. Now, this is my dad, and I found out in late '83 about my kidnapping after I was flown out to Mr. Flint's. I'd never met him, but it was done patterns, so I knew. So I was flown out to Mr. Flint's. It was after then I found out who my dad, and I could remember then, is King Edward VIII, who never married Wallace Simpson. Uh, Simpson married a double. It was a plot to take down my father, so they did. My father was married to Claudia Ruth O'Keefe and was queen in 1936 when my father was forced to abdicate, not to marry Wallace Simpson. He had nothing to do with her. It was a plot to take him down because he would not go along with the Illuminati. My uncle did. My father wouldn't. My father was a decent man, unlike history has him. This is in '39 at a hot dog festival. You can Google this. It was a big thing. At 39, when I was born, my Uncle George helped plan my kidnapping. And I was living, when I was born, I was brought back to Buckingham Palace because of the addendum my father had left, and it was legal. When he abdicated, it was forced. The minute I was born, I was Victoria II, legal heir to the British Crown, and that's why they kidnapped me then. The Rothschilds, Rockefellers, Bilderbergers, my Uncle George illegal, because the United States is into taking out leaders who do not go along with what they say, the Illuminati. The Kennedys, they helped kidnap me. JFK helped bring me to Moulton, Alabama, and I'll get into that in a minute. But this is supposedly the Queen Mom. My mom was the Queen Mom. This is Roosevelt, president who appointed JFK's father, Joe, ambassador to England, 36 till they kicked him out in 46. So you got the Rockefellers, Rothschilds, Bilderbergers, Kennedys kidnapping me, and my own uncle helped give them access because he was living in Buckingham Palace too, because he wasn't going to give up his illegal gain. The United States actually installed him, like they have other leaders in Iraq, Iran, Syria, that serve their best interests and go along with them. My father refused, and it was a takedown, and then they kidnapped me, and it's been an ongoing hell. My dad and mom were still alive when I came to Roanoke in '86, and they remained married, a double married Simpson, and okay, that's about all I'm going to put. This was just a picture of me when they brought me over right after then, and I'm going to show you one more. This is really my dad here when he's abdicating, forced. And Sir Winston Churchill has burned the Windsor files. I understand there are copies where my mom and dad were married, because most of the people are dead now that remembered it, and my birth, and the addendum, of course. And this is the double that did all kinds of antics and things to discredit my dad when it was him doing it. This is one of the mind control murders that happened of late. James Holmes. He's programmed to do what he did. He's not mentally ill. I mean, that's ridiculous to give him psychotic drugs from being programmed. He's a victim. Okay, 7/6/13 is when that happened. This is the double that married Wallis Simpson, or one of them, became the illegal Duke and Duchess of Windsor in 37, when my Uncle George became the illegal monarch of the United States. This is Timothy McVeigh, the Oklahoma City bomber. He even says here the U.S. put a chip up him, and he was programmed. He's a victim, put to death. This is implantable biochips. This is what I was writing about programming. This is my Aunt Georgia O'Keeffe. Excuse my picture there of the bed. Artist, and she's my aunt, my mom Claudia's sister. My mom Claudia was a school teacher from Madison, Wisconsin. This is me back then in about 1943. I was brought over at 41, given the name of Peggy Ann Dempsey. I married a Childers, and I still have to use the name of the twin. This woman, Lina, had twins, born out of wedlock, and I was given the name of Peggy, one of the twins. Now, Carl was murdered right after birth, and they were a year older than me when they brought me there. So they had a problem with the birth certificates, and they just marked through it the state of Alabama from Montgomery, Alabama. I was taken to Lawrence County, and that was used. Those names are used in program shooting, the patterns that you can prove. But I want to get, I wrote this down. I usually go from memory, but I'm in bad health right now, so bear with me. I'm going to try to go back over some of this. I do want to get to this, though. Well, I don't know what this is one of the, I'm going to go ahead and say this. This is one of the, I met Jens, or our paths crossed in Atlanta just before I was flown out to Larry Flint's. If this goes off, I'm going to put up a number 2 on it, and I'm just going to entitle it O.J. Simpson, okay, 1 and 2. This is Jens Oring's German diplomat's son. And prior to my entering a campaign to replace Congressman Dr. Larry McDonald, who I'd written about in MD A License to Kill and tried to get it published, and I was living at Moonraker at the time in Marietta, Cobb County, and that's when Larry Flint was shot, and that's why he flew me out there later. I'd never met him, but in 83, when this doctor I wrote about, Larry McDonald, congressman, they all know about this. Your congressman, your intelligence, your judicial, that some of the governors from here sit on these committees. They know about me and my kidnapping and the mind control murders and all of it. So anyway, Jens Orange was supposed to have been released by Tim Kaine, the governor of Virginia. The murders here happen with knives. I mean, you can do it with anything if you're programmed. I mean, it doesn't matter. Commit suicide or it looked like it. By murder by mind control is what? Diagnosis murder, yeah. But anyway, this is Jens, and our paths crossed just before I entered the campaign when the KAL that veered into Russian airspace and was shot down in 83. McDonald went down in that plane, or was supposed to. 260 plus people drowned en route to Seoul, South Korea from Juneau. So anyway, I am flown out to Larry Flint's. He helped me in the campaign. I was out there twice in October. Of course, I lost. And I want you to get the name here. And I'm not going to try to explain all this, how it fits in right now. I've put all this up the best I could prior. Darden was a district attorney when a lot of murders happened at Piedmont Hospital, the death of Warren and Rosina Matthews, who were involved in all this. They were forensic pathologists at Piedmont Hospital, and they were murdered. Buddy Darden, the district attorney, prosecuted that. Then it's been re-prosecuted, and mind control was used in it, hypnosis back then. And Tom Sharon retried it, and that's when Larry Flint was shot. About the same time he retried it. It's been retried again, and they've deleted. I lived through this. So did anybody tell me that you can't change Google, you can't change the media? They changed the dates of Anastasia up here in Charlottesville. Anyway, I won't get into that. She's related to me, cousin. They killed her the day I drove through with a Larry Flint car. He furnished me a car for a year, and then I was on the road and living on the Appalachian Trail and starving and freezing and begging. But I drove through, ironically, Charlottesville. I just found out about my real name and been out at Flint's, and his limo driver was with British intelligence. So they've tried to help me, the Brits have, and some Americans. Most of them don't care. They want me dead and shut up. But anyway, Jens was supposed to have been sent back to Germany by Tim Kaine, who was, Tim Kaine was Hillary Clinton's VP choice. They even talked about this a little bit during the campaign. They didn't say much about Jens. But anyway, he hasn't been sent back, but his was a mind control in Elizabeth Haysom, and they're innocent. And the murders happen with knives, not guns, and not running your car into the river and drowning. But anyway, I want to get to this the best I can. I usually go by memory, but I'm having a bad time right at the moment. So I'm just going to read this, and I don't know how far it'll go. In the O.J. Simpson murders, they used Christopher Darden. Chris was one of my son Mark's name in my book, because I wrote a little bit about them, and of course Scott is my other son, and their names have been used, like Mark and Scott, the twins, at NASA, the astronauts that were married to the Congress lady in the shootings in Tucson, Arizona. And she was a congressman, and she's for taking down guns and all this. It has nothing to do with guns. It has to do with programming and sending the wrong person to prison. That's the reason you can't get the motive, because they don't have one. They're programmed. They don't even know it. Okay, so Buddy Darden was also in the name Darden was also used in the O.J. Simpson trial. Christopher Darden. Christopher was my son Mark's name in the book. Now then you get into Mark, as in Mark Furman, and you get into, can't remember the judge in there's name, but his was very important. So there's a lot of names in there, and the witnesses. So it was really strange, but you can't tell anybody this. The media won't touch it because of who I am and my kidnapping and being brought here, and who my father is. And mind control is invisible, so it's hard to prove, except these were done in patterns like the Virginia Tech next door here at Stack. That's, anyway, I'll leave it there. Okay, I'm doing the best I can because I'm in bad health really right at the moment. Okay, so I said that about... Let me say this while I'm at it. O.J. Simpson. Simpson was the name... Well, that's obvious. Wallace Warfield Simpson was supposed to marry my father, which was alive. Put that up. And my mom is O'Keefe, Claudia Ruth O'Keefe. And so you've got the Simpson there. You've got the Simpson as in when I wrote the book in 79. And then they almost killed me. I'm not going into that again. That is a horror story. I was taken across the state line back from Cobb County, Laurelwood Apartments, to this woman Dempsey, who killed her twins, and they put me there and gave me Peggy's name. She was fed to the pigs 2 weeks before I came there, so they had it planned. JFK, the Kennedys, Rothschilds, my own family, some of them, and Winston Churchill. And you get into Eisenhower and all that, in a collusion in it. And they maintained it. The government up there now in D.C. knows all about it. They always have, your Congress. So now then where I'm trying to keep it straight. I wrote it down here because I feel so bad. But anyway, Lina had killed her twins and I was put there. So I found out, I put all that up here. I've lost my train of thought here. I want to say this. While I was at the district attorney's office, working there in the condition I was in, 80, I'd gotten a letter from the FBI, June the 23rd of 79, ongoing investigation, national security involved. Well, it's been ongoing in my demise because I've been things done to me that are so hideous. But anyway, I keep saying anyway, but the name of the district attorney Simpson goes into, as in Wallace Warfield Simpson and O.J. Simpson. Now I'm going to throw you one if you want to go back and look at my YouTubes and everything. O.J. is orange juice. It also goes back to the Thrashers at Springwood, Virginia, when I was still driving the Larry Flint car furnished me for a year. So this is in 84, and they killed Anastasia up here, Blue Ridge Mental